invasion of Earth will be met by a group of fearless warriors that number just 100 souls. 100 wonderful defenders of our world. Their faces are forever masked. Their tombs are forever unknown. They are the Wonderful 101! I knew we forgot someone. You.
Hello, this is DrSayus, and today I am joined by a member of the Wonderful 101, Wonder Silly! And today we are reviewing the Wonderful 101. The Wonderful 101 is a very colourful cartoony game. It is a superhero game with chibi characters. For me, this looks like a very pretty Wii game. The models are very low res. You can see that from the animations of the mouths, and in the cutscenes the models are very shiny. But the fact that this was released in mid 2013, back shortly after the Wii U launched, it makes sense that they ported this game from the Wii to the Wii U. Aside from the models, the game does look HD, it does look pretty. It does not have to be overly detailed because it's a cartoony game. The game starts where a teacher and his students are on a bus, and the bus is attacked by robots. So then he orders the kids onto the end of the bus. He releases that part of the bus, then the vehicle gets released on its own onto the motorway, and we assume that the kids are fine after that. It's also to hide his identity, because then he turns into Wonder Red, who is the main superhero throughout the game. Wonder Red's main ability is that he has this red fist, and he's the all-rounder. He's good at offense and defense. How the heroes are able to do their abilities, they have to work together. Whoever's leading the charge, the other heroes will use the leader's ability, so they'll all form to create this massive fist, and you'll use that to punch the robots. I believe this game takes inspiration from all the other games PlatinumGames have made. It has the combat and humor of Bayonetta, particularly one or two of the female characters is like Bayonetta. It takes the superhero aesthetic from Viewtiful Joe. To use your superpowers, you have to draw symbols like Ōkami. The game has good humor. At first I thought this was for kids, but halfway through the game we're introduced to a character called Wonder Pink, who ends up turning the game from PG to adult 13. When you play the game, you think, oh, there's over 100 heroes, but unfortunately that's not the case. To be honest, only about 6 of those will have their own unique abilities, and the rest of the heroes will just copy their abilities, which is unfortunate. Wonder Silly had to go fight crime, so he's not with us for the rest of the video. No! You broke the illusion, you fool! The game has some tough puzzles, some of which will involve the gamepad, and the ones that involve the gamepad really did my head in. This is back whenever they didn't quite know how to utilize the gamepad, so there's sections where you have to look at the gamepad, and you would think that it would be one-to-one based on where you're looking, but that's not the case. There's a fixed camera, and if you put it a certain way, you'll be lucky the camera shifts slightly, but it was very badly optimized. It really shouldn't have been into the final product of the game. In fact, it made the game kind of unplayable in certain parts. It gets worse the later you get on for the game because they become more complicated, more drawn out. It's a shame because the rest of the game's great, it's just those sections in particular. Fortunately, there's not too many of them. Now the game has some tough puzzles, like when you're looking at the gamepad, you have to like use the information on the gamepad and the information displayed on the TV and try and put two to two together. It's quite good. I could see kids getting frustrated with it. It's definitely more for teenagers and up, I would say. So to use the different abilities, if you want to use the hand, you draw a circle. If you want to use the sword, you draw a line. If you want to use the gun, you draw a bent line. The more powers you unlock throughout the game, the more complex it gets. When you unlock more powers, sometimes it becomes a bit harder to draw the symbol that you want to draw for the game to recognize. When I first played the game, it was very hard to even get the power that I wanted to get. This became easier to do as the more I went through the game. It just took a wee bit of adjusting to get to. I found it easier to use the right stick rather than use the actual touch screen. This game probably benefit if they didn't include the gamepad at all in it. But when you draw something, the game will show you the color of what it thinks you want. So if you draw a circle, it's supposed to turn red. You can turn into a hand. You know if it turns a different color or it doesn't turn any color, the game hasn't recognized it, and you have to do it again. The main aim of the combat was you would press the X button to make the enemy dizzy, and then you would keep pressing the A button to attack the enemy. I thought that's all there was to the combat. As I was able to navigate through the clunky menu, I discovered there is a few combos you can pull off. But most of the time you'll just be pressing A. As you go through the game, the combat becomes more in-depth, which is good, because at the start of the game the combat's a bit too simple because you don't really have many powers. You're pretty much just tapping A button the whole time. You get used to different enemies, their quirks, what works well against an enemy. I find the jelly part where it reflects attacks extremely useful, so I recommend you get that early and learn how to utilize that, because it will really help you in the long run. What I liked about this game is it's fast paced. It does things better than what, say, Bayonetta would do. When you die, you don't have to go all the way back to the start and go for the cutscenes again. When you die, you just pick up straight where you left off. This includes boss battles as well, because boss battles last a while. It's slightly annoying in the sense that I would have liked to beat the boss with his full health with my own ability. I understand why they did it. They were able to make it quite difficult. They're able to do that because they made these checkpoints so frequent. There's 2 meters you have to watch. The health meter is the most important. And then you have the battery meter. The battery meter is not really important at the start. When you get loads of points and you can end up buying upgrades, it suddenly becomes important. I find all the heroes that follow behind you, it reminded me about a Pikmin. You create things with them, you would attack with them. These heroes that are following you, they can be used as a shield. When your opponent attacks you, the heroes can sometimes block the attack, and then they all scatter up into the air. You either run over them to get them back, or you just wait for them to recover from their dizziness. There's decent loading times, I wasn't waiting too long. It gives you a fighting sequence in the loading screen, which was a lot like Bayonetta. The sword ability was my favourite out of all of them, because you could slash multiple enemies. The character himself was my least favourite. It was between him and Wonder Green, but I chose him because he goes on and on about his bloody Valiantium blade like it's a bloody dick measuring contest.
Soon you'll feel the sting of my Valiantium blade! Me, my Valiantium blade, and Alien make 3. My Valiantium blade's got your number! You can have a chat with my Valiantium blade. Valiantium? Or Scrammiantium?
And there's also a scene where, even though he's the voice of Sonic, he goes, "Can you take care of this damn hedgehog?" Wonder Green was the one I used the least, because out of all the characters, he was the least powerful with his gun. He only had like this dinky pistol, which wasn't very useful, except when there was mandatory segments where it was required. There was an odd glitch. I hadn't played the game in a while, and I continued from the story. The heroes were all invisible. I wasn't able to use them, so I pretty much had to restart the game and play from scratch. That never happened to me again. I'm not sure why that happened, but I thought it was worth bringing up. It was the boss at the football stadium, that's where it happened. The game can get quite chaotic on the screen because the zoomed out isometric view and your characters are all so small. It can be hard to see where your character is. Sometimes he can get mixed up among the other heroes, or like a massive boss will obstruct your view, or in a lot of cases of me, because there's this big area that you're fighting enemies, some enemies may be off screen and they can attack you while they're off screen, and there's nothing you can do about that, unfortunately. There is some slow bits to the game as well. Usually it's whenever you're controlling a vehicle and you're just like sitting there for ages. and you're thinking, oh, when's this segment gonna end? There was one bit that was like so easy, I thought like, am I doing something wrong? And I ended up trying something and I killed myself. Then the next time I just waited it out. That was all you needed to do. So it was more like a waiting man's game more than anything. There's a lot of collectibles in the levels. There's these toilets that you can send all your heroes into, and you get like an item out of it. It's a bit weird. If you see civilians on the ground, you just draw a circle around them and they'll be added to your team. Occasionally you'll get like a permanent hero to join. Other times you'll just get civilians. They'll only help you for that one level and that's it. All sorts of characters like police officers, a rock star, the Grim Reaper, a bloody salsa dancer. There's also a temptress as well. All sorts of crazy characters. The game seems to develop more adult humor later on in the game. It's like kids aren't going to play this far, so we'll put all the adult humor in the end. It's good. Some of it's quite cringy, but it's nice, well-rounded humor. Gameplay is quite polished as well as you'd expect from PlatinumGames. What would I give the final game? I would give the final game an 8. It's a high quality game. Things that bring it down, mostly the gamepad. Any sections of the gamepad just stop it from being better than what it was. My score went up of this game the more I played through it. My first impressions of this game were pretty average, but as I completed the game, it got better and better. It had surprises to throw at me, so definitely one worth playing. Yeah, I could see them porting this game to the Switch and it being quite good. And special thanks to Wonder Silly for his contribution to the cause. Keep up the good work, soldier.
Ooh, if you're getting a drink, I take mine neat with a twist of lemon.
Hello guys, hope you're having a fantastic day. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and to subscribe for more videos. Bye!